Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Little Thing Called Life with Gus. Today, we're going to unpack how Washington, D.C. is designed so ahead of its time, and I'm going to show you exactly how Washington, D.C. is insanely well designed. So if you live in the DMV area, I'm really hoping that this will bring a little bit more appreciation to the nation's capital. Let's jump in. This is Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, a 4,000 square mile region across 2 states, 15 counties, and the U.S. capital. All 3 branches of the federal government, and this is the Metrorail, a dense public transit system with 6 lines serving over 5.4 million people. Altogether, the Washington Metropolitan Area Transit System covers D.C., Virginia, and Maryland. Henceforth, around here, you hear the DMV. With 91 stations, 50 bus loops, 117 track miles, and 54 parking facilities, it's the 3rd busiest heavy rail system in the United States, with 93 million passenger trips in 2022. Then there's a Metrobus, operating over 1,500 buses across 325 routes. What makes this system so special? Just in a few words, transit-oriented development. Instead of building around roads and parking lots like most other states, DC builds around public transport. So that means homes, schools, parks, and offices are located near metro stations, often less than half a mile away, allowing for commuters just to hop off the train and walk or bike to their destination. Thanks to this design, 15% of the workforce commutes by metro. That's a huge compared to the national average of just 5% of commuters that use public transit. Only 2% of all trips in the US are made on public transport. Compare this to the Dallas-Fort Worth, which has 161 bus routes, 4 light rail systems, and serves over 6.5 million people, more than DC, but far fewer riders. The DC Metro is one of just 4 of the US cities where public transit users earn more than drivers. I know what you're asking because I asked the same thing. How did DC get so far ahead? Well, it's a mix of location, decades of planning, and community involvement. Let's go back to 1960 to Arlington County, Virginia, perhaps the best US example of transit-oriented development. While most Americans embraced the car, Arlington planners saw another way that federal workers needed homes near DC, so Arlington began building them. But the community didn't want to lose its charm, its wide roads and parking garages, so they developed a bullseye plan. Red clusters of dense development, offices, schools, and homes, all within a walking distance of a new rail line. There was one problem. The only original rail line followed I-66, cutting off communities like Boston. After lobbying, they were able to reroute the rail through what's now Roslyn-Boston corridor and underground line connecting Roslyn, Clarendon, Courthouse, Virginia Square, and Boston. Each station was distinct. Virginia Square became a hub for education, Roslyn a center for business. This corridor led to 47,000 residential units, 6 million square feet of retail, and 36 million square feet of workspace. Today, 45% of trips from Arlington to DC are by transit. 22% of Arlington households don't own a car. And across the region, 16% of residents are car-free. In Arlington, only 40% of trips are made by car and 16% are made on foot. The region avoided the worst of its housing crisis by building apartments near the transit, and these units are more affordable than single-family homes, helping affordability and generating revenue to reinvest. It's crazy to think about, but it's been working for 50 years. Zooming back out, the region boasts 85 miles of bike lanes, 5,200 dockless bikes and scooters, and 2/3 of DC homes are car-free, which is mind-blowing because, I'm in Northern Virginia, and yeah, you gotta have a car. There's also the DC streetcar, a free service serving 90,000 riders monthly. When doing this research, I just kept thinking, so why hasn't every city followed suit? To give a shout out to my Ohio family, let's look at Columbus, Ohio, a fast-growing metro area with over 3 million people. It's one of the largest US cities without a subway or a high-speed rail, and there are no passenger trains in central Ohio, just buses. The system serves 18 million rides annually with 440 buses across 44 routes. But as services like the downtown circulator close, options are really shrinking. Columbus is waiting on 2 Amtrak corridors that will link Cleveland, Dayton, and Cincinnati, but that won't arrive until 2035, if it even happens. So for now, it's Greyhound and Barron Bus. Ironically, Columbus ranks amongst the best car commuting cities, with just 24-minute average, but car-centric cities struggle if residents want options. If you go back in DC, the opposite is happening. The proposed Purple Line will connect Bethesda to New Carrollton, linking Silver Spring and College Park. That's a 16-mile light rail corridor forming its own self-sufficient network. In 2023, DC also announced a zero-fare Metrobus system. That's right. Buses inside city limits are now free. It would cost $42 million a year to operate. Right now, the initiative is currently on pause due to funding debates, but it's one of the busiest cities to attempt this, and the whole country is watching. Meanwhile, Washington is also building zero-emission bus garages and green spaces around rail lines. No, the system isn't perfect. Ask any DC resident, but with leadership and the community input, it remains one of the best integrated transit systems in the United States. In a nation that's prioritizing cars over commuters, that's quite an achievement. Thanks for watching another episode of Little Thing Called Life with Gus, and hopefully you have a little bit more appreciation on Washington, D.C. I'll check you. Arrivederci.